Hello, everyone, and welcome back to London, England. You can see there what a lovely view it is.
Is it moving? It's not moving.
It's not moving. No, it's not moving.
It's live, actually.
Can't you tell, Stefan?
It's live.
What have you been taking during the break? If you have to ask that question.
What do you say?
No, don't worry, mate. Well, just sorry, it wasn't moving. It was a picture. Safe.
A live picture taken.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said it should have been. I don't think it was.
Should have. Could have.
Anyway,
who knows?
It was a
see,
picture.
you haven't even had time to have a walk around London yet. You haven't seen all it has to offer.
I walked around. Everyone else should do that too.
Yeah. So I'll take you to these places. You'll love it. They're great. Anyway, we're going to get into the tournament. We're going to have
Stefano. Oh, it's not shown. Never mind.
Are they bringing it back up?
Well, there's like a preview screen, and then there's a screen that could be. Is I guess what is above that.
Yeah, that's us. We are live, guys.
Oh, they did show that.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Then there was you saw moving London.
Awesome. I'm glad we got there in the end. But so look, we're gonna be plowing through the tournament now. We're getting into the next game, which I'm told is going to be Marinelord versus DeParture, or as the production chap told me, Greenlord. I don't know who he is, but
well, one of the sponsors is Green Man Gaming, so they
I think
they have it locked in their head.
It's been warm. It's a hot. You can probably tell by the direction this broadcast has been heading in. We're all hitting that wall. But this is an interesting one because this is a lot of the talents pick for Dark Horse, the challenger, as you like to call it, Stefano. And they're going to be going head-to-head here in this game. And, of course, they're fighting for tournament survival at this point. So just a few thoughts about this matchup.
Well, it's a quick hitting 2 days. I mean, we're already in elimination. And I feel like we just sat here. It's only been 3 hours. So it's interesting. All the hype you can talk about, like you said, Dark Horse for both these players. Well, one best of 3 and they're gone. So it's pretty cutting edge. And we're going to see a little bit more of the same for poor DeParture. He's going to be facing Mech TVZ, and on these maps, it is tough to deal with. So I hope he brings something new because, he looked okay in game 1 and 2 against that Mech, but then he kind of went for the blind all-in game 3 and hit a brick wall. It's going to take more than that because, in my opinion, Marinelord is actually better than Bunny at this style of TVZ.
You believe so?
Yeah.
Like the slow mech style or like bio style?
Mech specifically, yeah.
I would say Bunny is like more experienced in it. I thought so. Like, yeah, Marinelord, I see him as being more ambivalent. Like he play both styles, but he will not always favor the mech things. He will do it on like maps where, as the last time, what was it, the circle map? I look silly now, but yeah,
the circle map. These are the kind of things I should be saying.
Terraform, I think you're saying
Terraform, yeah. Like you can do anything on there, but also on this map he would go mech, but on another map, like Baymax, Cactus and stuff, I see him going bio more. I think
You think so?
Yeah.
I think at least 2 out of the 3 games will go mech, if not both the games.
I think that's a bet.
How much do you want to bet?
Yeah.
Are we going to go all in?
How much money?
Cut our ponytails
20
off?
pounds.
20 pounds.
20 English pounds. It's happening.
Make it 120.
No, just 20. You
Okay.
degenerate. Just slow it down.
Slow it down.
It's day 1.
I got the fever now.
Oh, wow.
Gambling fever.
I have that effect on people.
Mate, Blizzard are going to be on the phone here. You got to be careful.
Well, it's 20,
gambling around
20
Starcraft.
pounds of what, really, though? It could have been hot dogs.
Yeah, true. Good save.
You said English pounds, so you don't really.
English pounds
Yeah,
of hot
English
dogs.
pound of hot dogs. We've got different weighing systems to you guys.
Okay, sure.
Have you had the sausages at breakfast?
Yeah.
It's been quite good, actually.
It was a bit too dry, I think. I don't know why we're speaking about this right now.
I got you talking about it right away, though, didn't I?
Okay.
Right, well, look, it's okay, Stefan. I'll save you
You
from
know
sausage
more about.
talk, right?
Listen, you know more right now about English sausages than Marinelord's TVZ. So I feel like I got you on the better subject.
Yeah.
That's true. I thank you for the effort to.
I'm just trying to back you up.
Yeah.
Right.
I think there's other subjects I master better than sausage. So.
Well, I'm hoping it's map vetoes. So we've got the map veto
exactly.
ready for you. So you can see this is going to be Marinelord versus DeParture. Let's talk about the logic behind this. Obviously, it's similar to what we've seen
So
multiple times.
the same maps every
it's gonna
time.
Be
Yeah,
straight
it's
away.
strange.
Mech, right?
Yeah. Coda's really good for TVZ Mac.
Like I remember at the WCS match, Marinelord against someone, I can't remember who, but for 1 hour they played on this map.
Firecake, your other
Firecake,
Frenchman.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
He
a popular
took the
Frenchman.
model of Stefano and went a little bit too literal with it.
He destroyed my image. I mean, like, he took something beautiful and charming, and he made it vile, basically. Just, like, corrupted it.
Well, thank you for being honest about
Yeah,
that.
it's true.
Why is he so unpopular, by the way? Is it because of that?
Because as he says, he pushes it too much. Like for me, it's kind of in between banter, I hate you, I love you, but still bantering. And him is just, yeah, I hate you, and I say it, and I fucking want to kill you or something. And it's not how it works. I mean, you need them in between, you know, like not straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be more subtle and dance
Yeah,
between.
yeah,
I wonder why you didn't include him in the French Revolution we were talking about at the top of the show.
I would say because he's just Zerg, basically. Like, Zerg have always been good in StarCraft, like back then in Wings of Liberty. So you can't apply it to him. Like, Protoss and Terra never did anything. French Protoss and Russia almost never did anything. And then they succeeded really well. For the Zerg, it's always been, like, kind of going well. So I can't really include him in it. And I don't like him as well. So
now we get down to it.
That was actually the main reason, but...
I got to push you guys, because we're getting ready for the game. Don't want to keep the players too long. Just for some predictions. Jeff, you're doing well so far. What's the Oracle? What's he feeling right now?
Well, I mean, I'm about to be 20 pounds of who knows what heavier. And gosh, that didn't come out the way I wanted. I'm going to be... wealthier is what I wanted to say, but it came out a little bit more insecure, I suppose.
Yep.
I think Marinelord's in a really good position here. I am not impressed with how DeParture, like the idea was okay in game 1 and 2, but execution-wise, he was kind of floundering, and I felt like he actually could have lost that series harder. I felt like Bunny mis-executed in game 2. Well, no, it was game 1 actually, and even game 2 it got a little bit close, like Stefan was talking about. It shouldn't have been that close. So I think Marinelord's going to have.
But yes, the guy has experience now in this late game make.
Well, all these Zergs have experience with it.
So he knows a bit how to deal with it. He won't come out of the blue and just go for it. He has a bit of experience now.
Are you backing your fellow Frenchman?
I would say Marinelord can do it, yeah.
Okay, then. Well, we'll see. I'm glad there's money on... something on the line. It's a good side.
20 pounds.
We're going to throw over to our casters now. It's going to be Jorisar and Hook. Take it away, boys.
Thank you very much, guys. We don't really have 20 pounds of much to be staking on this match at the moment, but we haven't really made our predictions yet either. It is a bit frustrating that in the losers match we kind of have two players that are touted to be the dark horses in the tournament, and it's like, well, one of them's gonna have to pack up now.
You picked DeParture, right?
Me?
Yeah, as a dark horse.
I did pick DeParture as the dark horse.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be cheering for DeParture then, I guess.
Yeah,
to back up our picks.
There's absolutely no disagreement here whatsoever. It's completely fine. So the map vetoes have been done. We're waiting to get into the first game now. But before we do that, let's go ahead and take a look. Now, somewhat unpredictably, Coda happens to be the first map. But we've put that to bed. We discussed that with Jeff earlier on. Iron Fortress and Terraform are going to be rounding out the map pool here. And I'm really kind of hoping to see another Mech TVZ on Terraform.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. I mean, there's really no doubt. Iron Fortress can kind of go either way. It's such an open map, and there's, like, you know, a harder third base. It's further away. So we could see Bio there, but Terraform, yeah, if it gets to that third match, I would expect the same thing, as always. I mean, even from Asus ROG, I've seen a lot of mech on that map.
And for those of you who are watching earlier on as well, DeParture versus Bunny on Terraform was just an absolutely insane game. So I'd love to be able to see if DeParture will switch up his approach moving into this series. But for now, we're in the game. First map is a Coda, and spawning in the bottom right-hand position as the red Terran player. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the foreign hopes in this tournament, and all-round strong Terran. It's Marinelord. He's facing off against the player who's already faced a good, healthy amount of Terran mech today, but losing out to Bunny in Game 3 when our Team Liquid player switched it up and went bio. This time, though, will he wisen up and take the victory? It's DeParture.
Observer being quick with that, you know, whip it.
I know, right? That was
you just went into whip.
You suffer injuries doing that, man. You got to slow down, Wardy.
That's good. He's ready. DeParture, I mean, interesting thing. I've played against this guy for a very long time. He's been on top of Korean ladder for, I mean, even when I was back in Korea, and that's almost like 10 years ago now. Not what I expected him to look like. I don't know why that is.
No?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's like a little judgmental or something, but the way he plays, I just expected him to be different.
Well, rather than talk about what he looks like, I think more importantly, we should talk about, in your head, what he should look like. I want to paint. I want to
like
paint
a more Dongre Gu-ish look, you know?
Okay.
Because I felt like they played similar styles to like a lot of Zergs at that time. So like Dongre Gu mixed with like Buell or something. Like maybe if they had a love child.
We can certainly put the
Do
suggestion
like two faces and then just mix them together, blur them. I'm sure there's a website that can do that.
in about 12 minutes. It'll be on Reddit.
I hope so.
I'm pretty sure that's going to happen.
That's what DeParture should look like.
DeParture's really unassuming, and he has like such a good poker face on camera as well that win or lose, you can never really tell what he's thinking. He's just there. He's like emotionless.
Yeah, I didn't expect that.
It's very very intimidating in a competitor here.
And then Marinelord, on the other hand, they were talking about like his personality. I actually like Marinelord a lot because I feel like he's like a really small guy, right? And but he's not scared at all to say and speak his mind.
He's the most aggressive guy out there.
Yeah, you would expect someone that's kind of small to be, you know, a little bit more cautious with his words, but no, Marinelord throws out the banter pretty hard, and he's not afraid to call people out, which I like. I like a lot.
Well, do we always have like? I mean, we don't always have, you know, the bigger guys being the louder. You always hear like gentle giants and also like the small guys who are really aggressive. You never really hear about the opposite.
I think it's like the medium-sized guys. They're, you know, like Stefano. He's like, you know, kind of middle of the road, and he likes to talk like a good amount of trash. You got Nanawa once again, like middle of the road, you know.
Yeah, true.
So a lot of the guys that are, you know, average will be, you know, speak their mind a little bit more, I guess, is the polite way to say it.
Exactly. It's just a little bit of scouting information in this game now from Marinelord. No damage done to the economy, of course. Just wanted to poke on in. I believe you saw the gas up at the top, and he'll be going in for a second look very shortly. We'll be teaming up with Tim, Bob and Tim, the two Reapers here. Don't know if they're joined by a third. Oh, they will be joined by a third.
Generally speaking, you get 3 or 4 Reapers here, and then you transition to the factory reactor and all that good jazz. Maybe go for like a small Hellion poke just with those Reapers. It's, you know, a good way to keep map control. If the Zerg makes any mistakes, you get like a small advantage, and at the same time you can keep up the pressure, deny creep tumors and all that great stuff, and just keep the Zerg contained.
We saw DeParture in Game 1 against Bunny go for a very, very aggressive roach timing to try and preempt any sort of mech. Do we reckon this might be the kind of thing that we could see again here? I mean, he's done it once today already, but the unknown for me is whether DeParture is expecting mech out of Marinelord.
I think on this map, it's less likely. I think on Terraform, it's, you know, obviously very likely. At the same time, I don't think he's going to go for it on this map. It's just too easy to see it coming with those Reapers, with the Hellions. It's a 2-player map. It's a lot smaller than, let's say, Iron Fortress. It's a lot more likely to be scouted. And at the same time, he's going to have a better opportunity to see what his opponent's up to. So I doubt he's going to go for something like that. And I doubt, at the same time, that Marinelord's going to go mech on this map, actually.
Interestingly, from the observing point of view, temporarily, the Zerg player technically saw 2 barracks there. Because, of course, the last time you saw the barracks, it was where the factory is now. But it has now been completely scouted. You will see that the Hellions are incoming. Third CC and nearing enough completion as well. Yeah,
and more importantly, it wasn't scouted. The Overlord actually scouted 90% of that main base and actually missed the CC just by a little bit. So great positioning by Marinelord. It's those small little things denying information that are going to give you, you know, a good advantage going into that mid game. And so far, Marinelord's done a great job.
Yeah, DeParture's just going to be playing a little bit more cautious to try and weed out any potential 2-base player. One of those Queens are getting dangerously low, successfully going in and picking off the Hellion, not even going down there. Wow, very close. Literally about, wow, 2 hit points from death. You can breathe too hard in that thing and it would fall apart, so wisely going back home for some repairs.
Cough, sneeze, anything, and that's actually a big deal. It just denies a lot of energy, forces DeParture maybe to build another Queen, and at the same time, you know, it's a pretty cheap win from Marinelord. He doesn't even lose that Hellion, like you said, and he's just keeping up the pressure. The creep tumors aren't spreading as much as he would like, and he has to, you know, force to bring another Queen down to try to, you know, stimulate that creep spread, because it's very important. You know, right now it's not such a big deal, but going into that mid game, you need to have it out on the map so that you could get to your third base, you know, get those banelings out there, make sure that you're getting, you know, plus EV engagements, you know, getting those connects that you have. And it's not going to be easy to do if you don't have that creep spread underneath banelings, Zerglings, even roaches.
Sneaky attack coming into the natural expansion now, and the wall not yet complete. Zerglings going to both the main base and the natural. Good closure there of the supply depot at the main base, but still going to be very, very frustrating here for Marinelord. DeParture picking off a couple of workers, deciding to leave the rest of them alone, though. And he's just killing off a couple of supply depots now,
Yeah, and that's going to do a lot of damage, actually. Canceling a supply depot. More importantly, killing 11 SCVs, 12 SCVs, 14 SCVs. Losing these Reapers in the main base isn't such a big deal. He does trade them out for a little bit of economy, but losing 14 SCVs, and more importantly, like, how long were they off the mineral line? You know, it was a good 10, 15, 20 seconds.
The mules were off as well.
Yeah.
They cost a lot.
And all of a sudden, we see that it's showing DeParture up, 30 supply, and that isn't in like inefficient roaches or anything. That's in Zerglings, Mutalisk, and drones. He's going to be able to have a little opportunity here to do damage with those Hellions, but at the same time, it was a bad choice almost to morph these into Hellbats, in my opinion. They're going to be slower. They're not going to get a chance to chase down drones as much, and Mutalisk are going to do a great job defending them. At the same time, across the map, Zerglings starting to attack that wall, but it is a full wall, so he's not going to be able to do any damage, and he's meanwhile back at his base defending, and he's going to lose all these Zerglings.
Whoa, lowering the supply depot there for reasons that will continue to be unknown to me. Only the one Hellion defending. I mean, yeah, he's going to be able to kill off these Zerglings, but presumably not before losing something. More, like you said, morphing those Hellbats, I'm really not sure was a good decision as well. If he was already in the mineral line, maybe that would have been great, but he had to walk so far, and the Mutas were just able to clean house.
Yeah, and he's going to choose to take this fight. He's going to Magic Box against these Thors, the one Thor and the two Vikings, and sure, you're not taking a lot of splash damage, but those are SCVs repairing the Thor. You don't really have enough Mutalisk. I'm not sure.
No, why?
Yeah, the decision-making there, I mean, sure, you trade out Mutalisk for two Vikings, but you're looking, to do damage with those Mutalisks. You don't really want to take on a head-on engagement because that's just going to limit your potential for the rest of the game. And all of a sudden, he had a good amount of Mutalisk, and now he has two?
Yeah, this is really strange. I think there have been mistakes. Well, easy to say there have been mistakes made from both sides, but it is really turning into a little bit of a scrap right now. We've got the Roach Warren on the way for DeParture now. He flies home with just two Mutalisks. Taking on that Thor was really quite odd. But don't forget, he managed to do some damage to the SCVs, repairing the Thor as well. He's 70 workers versus 45 right now. And I guess at the 12-minute mark, that is still quite substantial.
Oh, no. DeParture's for sure in the lead here. He has just a big advantage in every way. Like, Marinelord's saving grace is maybe that he has that third orbital up, but it's going to be hard for him to get it, out on the map when it just doesn't seem like he has that much map control. And he's going for this mech transition, and look at his units. He just doesn't have any. He's starting to build a tank now. He's getting +1, but he has one Thor, one Banshee, 3 Vikings. Even the Zerglings themselves can almost completely shut down this third base if he tries to take it. And then on top of that, he's starting to make the transition into roaches.
He has to be very, very careful from this point. And like you said, having the one Thor, I mean, it's great when you have a couple of Mutalisks banging down your door, right? But less so when the ground army is substantial. Oh, did I say a couple of Mutalisks? I meant one. Sorry about that. But the ground army is going to be where Marinelord is worried. And when you're trying to play mech and your economy gets set back in the early game, it takes even longer for you to get back into the game compared to normal bio, where by this point, yeah, you're still behind, but you have medevacs, you're dropping left and right, you're trying your best to get back into the game economically. There's no such option here right now. He's got 5 Vikings, sure, but
for the one Mutalisk and a bunch of Overlords, he just doesn't have the options he needs. He doesn't have that ground force. And we were talking about that for so long that, you need to slow down the mech player. You need to do damage early. You need to change it up. And DeParture thus far has done that. It was simple enough with that small Zergling run by, but since then he's done a great job just transitioning out of Mutalisk and making sure he's not overcommitting.
I mean, he could, land the Vikings in a mineral line and decimate it, I guess.
Yeah, but
DeParture would have to kind of close his eyes for quite a while.
You're basically relying on your opponent making a mistake. Of course, you can, put him to the side. They're going to pay off against these 3 Vipers. They're going to have to, because at this point, he just doesn't have enough tanks, By the time those Vipers come over, they're going to have maybe 4, 5, 6 pulls, and there's going to only be 4, 5, 6 tanks.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you get a, good amount of Hydras and Roaches, it could be game right there.
Well, DeParture is going to be maxing out very, very shortly indeed. He's got there's a large chunk of blue in the bottom left of the map as well as he takes the top right there. So these Lings just kind of waiting on by until he sees that Marinelord starts moving out across the map. And I like this because as soon as DeParture sees that there are, any number of tanks and Thors moving into the middle there, all of a sudden that third base is a huge target for the Lings there.
Yeah, and he's maxed out. He's hitting a great timing here. He has 2-2 on the way. It's of course not going to be done by the time he reaches there, but with the Hive Tech, with those Vipers, I don't think Marinelord's going to exactly expect that.
This is, I mean, he's setting up at the moment. I don't really think it's DeParture's intention to just go in and win the game outright. But then again, I'm not sure he realized he's a full 50 supply ahead right now. So with a couple of good Viper shots, he could do it. He's trading into the initial supply depots. Excellent blinding clouds. Is that on? That's on all but one of the tanks. Okay, I take all of that back. If there's only one tank in this army, then I guess he can push through.
Yeah, he's going to survive holding the natural, but at the same time, just killing the infrastructure here on the third base. He's just going to completely ignore it. Looks like he wants to go for the win. 3 tanks shelling out on this Roach Hydra. SCV's doing actually a great job of holding them in place, making sure that splash damage is doing as much as possible. It looks like Marinelord's going to barely hold, but he's going to have to forfeit this third base for a little bit. I think that was a little bit of an overextension by DeParture. If you just take that third base, you just kill the SCVs. There's even, 6, 7 supply depots, a turret, refinery. You're doing enough damage. But at this point, what, 200 supply compared to 69?
Yeah, the problem is every single SCV that had just got transferred to the third base, Marinelord rallied them back to the natural, and they all just died en route. So just under 50 SCVs got killed in that one attack alone. And it's all about being able to hold your position as the meching player, and Marinelord has done that, even if by the skin of his teeth. What he can't do right now is remax, and he needs to remax against a Zerg that's already back up to 200 supply. So I unfortunately for Marinelord in this situation, the next attack from DeParture should just be a nail in the coffin.
Yeah, and it just all came down to that lean run by, like DeParture making the smart decisions, teching to Hive as quick as he did, getting those Vipers out as quick as he did, making sure that there wasn't enough tanks, there wasn't that critical mass, and blinding clouds or pulls, either way, he was going to win that battle as long as he committed to it, and he did commit to it. He knew where he was at in the game, and now he's up 200 supply compared to 100. More importantly, he's limiting the Terran to 2 bases. Marinelord's going to try to buy time. He's going to counterattack with Hellions. I wish DeParture was a little bit more conservative with static defense. He's just getting those spines up now, but even at his third base, he's got 2k minerals, 1.6k gas. It's easy to, throw up 4 or 5 spine crawlers just to defend a base, but it looks like he's going to commit to a push. He says, you know what? You can have as many drones as you want. I want to end the game now, but moving into a choke with that many static defense, as far as the tanks all being set up, supply depots being in the way, it's just not worth it. And Marinelord's going to get a small but necessary victory here. All of a sudden, it isn't that 50 worker deficit. It's now all of a sudden 43 to 54, and DeParture's not maxed. And what happened to that 2k bank we were speaking about just minutes ago? All of a sudden, it's completely depleted.
So that second attack there from DeParture, he came in with the Vipers, hit all but one of the tanks, again with Blinding Cloud that were sieged up, but didn't see the remaining 2 that were coming down the ramp. So he thought he was able to push into the natural and be completely scot-free until he walked up against the tanks. All of a sudden, 3 or 4 tanks were hitting those Roaches and Hydras at the choke point, and that became a really, really cost-ineffective trade for him there. So that, combined with the fact that Marinelord has just killed something like 25 drones, means that Marinelord is trying to basically dig his fingernails into this game and say, actually, I'm going to continue hanging on. But look at what the map looks like, man. Yeah,
and at the same time, DeParture feels this, and he's willing to mix it up. He's going to go back to the Mutalisk transition. He's been upgrading, meanwhile, the whole time. He's got 2-1 on his Mutalisk, 2 Carapace, 1 Flyer attack, and he's getting that +2 Flyer attack as we speak. He wants to catch Marinelord off guard. Ideally, you're going to have Mutalisk, you're going to be able to get into that main base or take a big engagement, and you're going to be able to do damage regardless of your opponent's position. If he goes into the main base, he kills every factory, that's fine.
Sure.
He goes to the third base, kills all the tanks, that's fine. He just needs to do damage somewhere. So he's going to use this main ground army, distract his opponent, move to that third base, and then at the same time flying with the Mutalisk to the main and do just, whatever he can. And there's only 1 turret here to defend. Of course, he can send the Vikings, but what are you sending? 5, 6, 7 Vikings even against this many Mutalisks, and they're well upgraded? You're going to have a hard time at defending.
Yeah, and this transition is really the one that's going to do the damage to Marinelord. The Vikings need to be careful microing the Mutas. They're actually coming in trying to be as aggressive as they possibly can. The Vikings trying to seek shelter above the Thor, but the Mutas continuing to whittle that down. The Thor goes down as well, and all of a sudden, these siege tanks are really, really exposed. So Marinelord spending so long trying to develop this position that he can hold until he gets back to a stable 3 bases. DeParture says, no, not this time. And now the siege tanks, hunting season, man.
Yeah, hunting season indeed. He only has 2 turrets left. He has enough tanks to defend this ground army, but he just doesn't have enough anti-air defense. And it's only by a little bit. If he had 1 or 2 more Thors, this would be a great defense. But as of right now, he just doesn't have enough. 1 Thor's going to come out. He needs the magic box to store. It looks like he's going to move in with the Roaches. He wants to get into the natural, and this is a perfect maneuver. Wow. As soon as the tanks move out of position, he runs in with the Roaches, and that's going to be a good game. Great execution by DeParture to close out that game.
Yeah, that was a beautiful final engagement there. I mean, he was sat there losing quite a lot of Mutalisks, to be honest, and he knew he wanted to force Marinelord into committing to defend against that. And as soon as the as soon as the Roaches there moved into the natural expansion, it was very, very clear.
Yeah, just like a great little gambit. You know, you send the Roaches to the third base. He's got defense there, so you run in with the Mutalisk to the main, and then as soon as you do that, you clean up the natural. He moves the tanks out of position. You know, DeParture being calm, cool, collected, you know, recognizes that fact and immediately swings his ground army to the side, moves into the natural. And Marinelord realizes from that point on, it's just going to keep snowballing out of control. And, you know, maybe he can go back and save his main base with the tanks, but at the same time, then another attack's going to come to the third. Yep. He's just going to be always caught out of position.
And of course, going all the way back towards the beginning of that game as well, that first Ling run by, when your opponent's going mech, you slow them down, you just slow them down so much more than you would otherwise, simply because of that lack of early game harassment as well, and the lack of ability to drop. So that slowed Marinelord down just so much that DeParture consistently got ahead. And even the engagements where DeParture wasn't doing so well, he threw away a lot of units at one point against some siege tanks, right?
Yes.
He was ahead enough.
Even the beginning with the Mutalisk, taking the, like, he had a lot of sloppy engagements, but the point is he kept the pressure on, and he was always just keeping Marinelord on the back foot. Marinelord kind of evened it out with like a little bit of harassment with the Hellions, but just after the Ling run by, it was a really hard game for Marinelord, and DeParture had great transitions and great engagements sometimes too.
So we're going to be moving on now to Iron Fortress. And of course, if Marinelord is able to take this, we will be seeing a game number 3. Players are in lobby waiting to go now. Well, I guess compared to Coda, there's potentially a lot more room to play with, especially around the edges of the map, because the bases themselves aren't necessarily right up to the edge there. But is there something in particular that you're looking to see from either player here?
I would like to see more of a committed pressure from Marinelord, like some kind of Hellbat drop or, you know, Marine combination. I think that would do really well against DeParture. I'm not sure if Marinelord's going to recognize that or not. I mean, I think he's a very solid macro player that's, you know, just relies on his own play instead of countering his opponent's play or, you know, adapting to his play style. He still has a really good chance. I don't feel like he played necessarily bad in that game, but at the same time, DeParture seemed pretty solid. It's going to be interesting either way, just because it is such a big map, and it's very different than Coda. I mean, all the maps seem pretty different than Coda.
And these, are we necessarily going to see a stronger mech push coming out of Marinelord here? I mean, ignoring the fact that if he's able to shut down, of course, the early pressure and not lose 20 SCVs or something like that, he's going to be in a good place anyway. But is he feeling confident about Iron Fortress being the next map of choice?
I would say out of the 3 maps, it's the least likely map for mech. Just because it is so big, it is so open, it's going to be a lot harder to, you know, kind of consolidate your forces, and that third base is so far. There's drops, Nidus, so many bad, nasty things that Zerg can do. So I would favor actually bio play on this map, especially, you know, we saw Bunny do it against DeParture, and it worked really well.
Yeah, sure. That was so good in game number 3.
It was like a very easy win, it seemed, for Bunny, so... I would love to see Bio here, but we really don't know what's going through Marinelord's mind right now. And he is one of those players that's, you know, a little bit crazier, doesn't really, you know, think about it too much, and just goes to what he feels most comfortable.
Well, he might well take heart from the earlier series that Bunny had with DeParture as well, knowing that DeParture is a little bit, just a little bit susceptible to those kind of mind games, of course. DeParture thinking Bunny was going mech again and managing to switch it up on map number 3, but we'll see. It looks like we have a bit of an update with the score from the Challenger stage. I'll get that to you in just a second. Snoot has won. It's on the screen now underneath, so congratulations there. So we'll be moving into the next maps very, very shortly indeed. Now, is this going to be, I don't know, if Marinelord switches it up, let's say he goes bio on Iron Fortress, he's able to take that to DeParture now. I'm not really sure how this is going to play out in game number 3. Bunny had a very clear story where he was just trying to mech non-stop and then switched it up when DeParture least expected it. I'm getting, and maybe this goes back to your point about Marinelord being a little bit crazy, a little bit more unpredictable. It's hard to tell where this is going.
I mean, I would personally love to see some kind of weird cheese like 2Rex or something coming out of Marinelord, but it's just not what Terrans rely on anymore these days to win games. I think they feel very comfortable, especially on Terraform, just to play mech. I think that's what's going to happen in the third game if we get to it. But in the meantime, let's see if we can actually get to that third set.
All right. Ladies and gents, we've spawned now on map number 2. And in the top right-hand position, as the red Terran player representing Team Millennium, we have Marinelord. He's going up against a player who has already lost, I mean, one series to a foreign Terran from 1-0 up earlier today, but a very, very tough opponent. All the casters have him billed as the dark horse for outright victory in this tournament. Let's see if he can close this one out or it's going to a game 3. Ladies and gents, it's DeParture.
What an introduction. You're like, this guy who already lost to a whitey has shamed his family. Will have to go back to Korea if he loses this next game, you know, completely abandoned. Yeah.
Oh man, now, if I had to draw, to be fair, if I had to draw up like a list of people, Korean players, like fly over here and lose to and be totally fine, Bunny has to be like close to the top of that list.
Am I at the bottom of that list?
Are you at the bottom of that? No, you can't be at the bottom of that list.
Not the absolute bottom.
No way, man.
It's like
no way. You're not even close to the bottom.
It's like a Velo and then me and then maybe Combat X above me, something like that.
I'm at the bottom of that list. I got your back, man.
Okay,
don't worry.
Thank you.
I'll always be there.
Thank you.
With my,
I think Stefano's pretty much at the bottom of that list.
I'm sure we'll ask him about it a little later.
I'm sure he'll make a comment about it eventually.
Yeah, if we have like a big gap between the games, we can always organize a show match or two. You know.
Great.
We can have like you and Stefano to fight to be at the bottom of the list if you want.
That's something I look forward to. I not having my keyboard or mouse, having him do his random Remax 12 Roach L4 gate and lose horribly. It sounds like a battle from 2013.
Oh, it's gonna be great. On new maps, of course. So you know that totally changes everything.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so not too much to note, of course, so far this game. DeParture does spot Marinelord first, and I think he swiveled his Overlord around just a little bit so that Marinelord hasn't seen it yet, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect that from him. Any player that's not doing that at this, this high of a level would be pretty disappointing. But getting that scout first is just, reassuring DeParture that nothing too funky is going on. And, you wouldn't expect it at this point, especially a 4-player map like Iron Fortress, but at the same time,
He heard you mention the 2-racks, man.
Yeah, he was like, oh no, oh no.
He had the fear.
Now he doesn't have that fear in him. The fear of God.
All good, though. That's not going to happen now. And both players just continuing as normal. I'm waiting to see really what Marinelord's tech choices are going to be and what his plan of attack will be once he scouts DeParture as well. When you're not cross-position on this map, I guess it makes it very, very slightly more awkward to coming in with multi-drops and stuff like that because, the top of the map is just, there's less room to play with compared to if your opponent's cross-spawn. But I see no reason why he still can't go for stuff like that. It also means his DeParture's natural expansion isn't towards Marinelord as well. And ideally, of course, if it was a bit closer, it'd be a bit more susceptible to the medevac play.
And it does look like DeParture's actually going to go for a very similar build possibly that he did against Bunny. He's opening up with this Roach Warren. And to be honest, it's probably because he scouted that he was close and he wasn't cross. And he sees that, he has that opportunity to do damage. If Marinelord goes for a Mac or he does play a little greenie, he's opening up Factory. So perhaps it's actually going to work instead of like it was miserable fail, to be honest, against Bunny, which wasn't necessarily his fault. It was just like, I picked this build and you picked that build, and it's just going to be insanely hard for me. I mean, he's going to have 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 roaches coming out. He can always follow that up with more Zerglings, or he could just drone. But at the same time, what does Marinelord have? He's not even making more Marines yet. He's transitioning. He's getting, those tech buildings. He's getting that factory. He's getting the reactor. And he has a bunker with 2 Marines, literally only 2 Marines. Imagine if those 8 roaches, 9 roaches were already on the other side of the map, but they're going to be there soon enough. And more importantly, Marinelord doesn't even know this is coming. He hasn't scouted. He has no idea what's happening.
If he had watched Bunny's game earlier, man,
yeah.
he would have seen what happened on this map. I mean, this is near identical from DeParture, already moving out at the 6.5-minute mark. And Marinelord right now, I mean, at this stage of the game, when Bunny was playing against DeParture, he already had like 8 or 10 Marines. He was starting the 2nd and 3rd bunkers. And
and look, Marinelord's getting the 3rd command center. So great. He's getting a Viking. He's not even going for the fast Banshee. Oh, and he's going to lose these Hellions on top of that. Oh, this is so rough. Losing those 2 Hellions. He's only got 1 bunker, 2 Marines, tickling these roaches with a feather. Meanwhile, he's dropping SCVs. These roaches doing a great job of targeting him down. This bunker's in so much trouble. He's only killed one roach, and look how much he's lost. The bunker falls, and this is almost certainly GG. It's going to take a miracle for Marinelord to hold here. He actually cancels his third command center. These roaches piling in. There's no wall even at the ramp. There's 2 Hellions, 1 Viking that landed, trying desperately. The Marinelord gets spat and destroyed, and he's just losing so much here. So many SCVs.
This is the most amount of micro we'll ever see done to a Viking.
Yeah,
one could argue, but
he's trying his best.
Unfortunately, that's not going to be enough. We're down to single-digit workers now from Marinelord. GG comes out, and DeParture takes a 2-0 victory. The strategy that he had on the same map against Bunny working this time to allow him to take the victory.
And he's just like, okay. I guess he's being told, you know what, you got to stay here. We're going to play one more match. He's like, yeah, thanks. I know. That's fine. I feel nothing right now. But I wish he looked a little bit more like Dongringu and Buell. What a quick game. 8-minute game, basically. That's got to be disheartening for Marinelord, of course. Him being, you know, the other dark horse, the other player that people thought was going to, you know, perhaps do really well in this tournament. He's been someone on the rise for a while, and he's just, I mean, today was not his day. And sometimes that's all it comes down to in StarCraft 2. Some days you play well, some days you play bad. And this game, he just picked the wrong build order. DeParture picked the correct one, and you know, what can you do? Yeah,
and that is just that. I mean, Marinelord has been playing, you know, phenomenally well recently. I think I'm trying to think. The only sort of foreign players that I would say, you know, aren't included in the lineup here that aren't already some of the best in the world, like in the last month or two, are probably Lilbo and Petit Drogo.
Huck, maybe? Yeah, like Huck and pretty much Huck. Yeah.
Everyone's micro is just falling by the wayside here. We need some. We need some of that Huck micro. It's just not here. But we have like a really, really strong contingent of players in this tournament representing some of the best non-Korean players in the world at the Mo. And like you say, Marinelord hasn't exactly shown us that, oh yeah, he's in that category, but rest assured, he really is, and it just hasn't been his day.
Yeah, not today. He hasn't. Not today. So he lives to fight another day. You know, other tournaments will be coming up. He'll have that opportunity. It's just going to be really tough, but it looks like we're ready for Richard on the desk with my 2 favorite XEG players, Stefano and, well, Jeff, for now, still there.
Are you ex-player?
Turns out you've been kicked, Jeff.
No, I'm more of a, I would say I'm not necessarily primarily a player. That's fair to say.
What would you call yourself now?
A personality.
I like
personality.
It's very, very modest. So there we go. I mean, talking about some shocks there. You know, DeParture overcome Marinelord with you know, relative ease there, and seemed to be a little bit at 6s and 7s. Marinelord.
Well, he seemed to be perfectly aware of what was happening every game. Always the good timing, attacking at the perfect time, killing the SCVs, and I never saw Marinelord going out of his base, actually, in the 2 games. Like, the first game he went out only with Vikings to kill a few Overlords. But beside that, he didn't do a single move out on the map for 2 games. It was just the Zerg attacking. And in the ZVT, usually the turn will be aggressive early on, try to deny the third base and everything, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to break it down a little bit longer after the interview, but I was pretty impressed with the aggression, and that's one of the best ways to handle mech, I think, in the TVZ matchup. And DeParture was pouring it on pretty thick there.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if James has learnt from previous instances of using a translator. We'll see if he can get the mics going. I think they've got 2 mics that have combated him. Anyway, we're going to go to the interview with the winning DeParture. Let's see how this one works.
Thank you, Richard. Yes, we have got a secondary mic because we wanted that to look a little bit better than what it did last time. But DeParture has managed to take down Marinelord now. He will be going up against Bunny. But the game against Marinelord looks quite easy for him, considering Marinelord's a player that is considered to be doing very well at the moment. Let's just talk us through the first couple of games, if that's all right, Inu?
좀 상대를 쉽게 제압한 것 같은데 개인적으로는 이 2 게임에서 어떻게 진행을 했었는지 한번 말씀해 줄 수 있나요?
그냥 요즘 메카닉을 많이 해서 빌드 자체를 좀 메카닉 상대하는 빌드로 좀 이렇게 중점을 두고 하거든요. 근데 때마침 딱 메카닉 해주셔가지고 쉽게 이긴 것 같아요.
Because so many Terrans play mechanic, mecha plays in TVZ. He prepared a special build order for mechanic players, and that's why he kinda won easily against him.
Okay, now let's focus on the Bunny thing here, because obviously he lost 2-1 originally to Bunny on the first games they played. He's got to go head-to-head against him now. Does he feel more prepared? Has he got anything special planned? Or what's his mindset going into this next game?
다음 상대 바니 선수랑 다시 하게 되는데 뭐 상대에 대한 생각이 있는지 뭐 일부러 좀 생각을 했는지 무슨 빌드를 할지
그냥 딱히 특별한 걸 한다기보단 그냥 연습 때 하던 대로만 하면 쉽게 이길 거라 생각해서 그냥 딱히 특별한 건 없어요.
So I don't think I don't have to do anything special against him. I think if I can perform like I perform in my practice games, I will be able to beat him.
Now, obviously, we didn't get to speak to him on the previous time, considering he wasn't the winner against Bunny then on the first game. So what was his kind of thoughts on his first game against Bunny, and why did he manage to drop out, considering he had the first game pretty convincingly won?
그러면 첫 번째 버니 선수랑 만났을 때는 뭐가 좀 잘못됐었던 것 같아요?
그냥 그때는 손도 좀 덜 풀렸고 그냥 두 번째 경기에서 지고 좀 멘탈이 많이 좀 부서졌거든요. 근데 지금은 많이 괜찮아졌기 때문에 그냥 이길 수 있을 것 같아요.
So I think the reason I lost to Bunny in the first set of games is because I wasn't really warmed up, I think, and also after I lost the second game, I felt like my head was full of other stuff. Like I thought too much and I wasn't really confident enough. But I think now I got it.
Well, let's see if DeParture does have it when he does have to go up against Bunny. But for now, we're going to send it back to the analyst desk.
Great stuff there, James. It was like a snapshot of a dysfunctional family there. I thought it was good to see you all together again and happy. But yeah, so we were listening to the answers, and as you were astutely noted, it's kind of what we expected. But DeParture, it doesn't seem to be concerned. That is a big win for him at the end of the day.
He doesn't seem to be rocked at all. The guy is just in the zone right now. He's just so focused on that giant G trophy and just appeasing the crowds and winning the lion's share of the money, as Jarsar said.
But if we were to do, say, for example, a losers interview with Marinelord, what do you think he would be saying right now? Because it's, a lot of people tipped him as the dark horse here, and he's been very disappointing.
It's really disappointing the way he did it. But I mean, you can't always be on top. Sometimes you always have you fall or something, but I hope he will just get back up. Like, don't get just too sad about this kind of loss. It just happens to everybody.
Except you.
Yeah, like the game, we didn't have the opportunity to see actually him at his level, like where he wants to be, where he wants to fight. It just, some timings killed him early on and then the Rose timing killed him. It's just like, we didn't, I wanted to see like, his play, make play, because it's kind of really annoying and boring to watch, but in a certain way, as a French guy, when I see that, I can enjoy it. Because I used to be the one who abuses people and play Infestos with Broodlord and just playing slowly and enjoying myself, And he's doing the exact same thing as a Terran, so it's kind of fun to see.
I heard a lot about that from Naniwar's Twitter. About your style of play. Johan's had a few things to say about it.
Yeah. Check out his history; it's kind of fun.
Yeah, no, it is. It's awesome. So let's get a bit more analytical here, Jeff. I was listening to the cast. The casters were saying that Marinelord didn't really get into it in terms of build. What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, the strength of Mech TVZ is not in the earlier mid-game, really. I mean, it's certainly not super weak at that point in time, but it gets to that kind of late-game composition where it's like, as Stefano talked about, even with the first series of DeParture against Bunny, it's like, well, I'm fighting into chokes every single time, and it's not like I'm facing 20, it's not like the Zerg's facing 25 tanks and it's just like laughable. It's like 6. And you can even Blinding Cloud most of them. And as long as the Terran like repairs that planetary fortress and enough time passes and the tanks come back online, they just get shut down. So with that in mind, it was really refreshing and nice to see DeParture really lean on the early game. Like the big tech switch from the Mutas was really nice to see this time around, and we saw that in the earlier series as well against Bunny. But Bunny had a stable like 8 or 9 Vikings and 3 or 4 Thors. We saw even just one Thor kind of hold it down for a second there. but it wasn't enough. So it was nice seeing DeParture go in on the aggression, go in on the tech switches, and then have nice army movement before Marinelord can get to that point in time when he is rock steady. It's also worth noting too, though, like that was all opened up by the Ling counterattack, something that we didn't see in the other series as well. Where DeParture was just, he wasn't sure what he was facing with Bunny, so he was never able to really jump on top of it. And then by the time he realized it was mech, Bunny was already locked up.
So do you think the game against Bunny maybe helped him?
Yeah, exactly.
Here?
He seemed really prepared and aware of every timing he needs to hit. Because Marinelord is quite famous. He's known for being someone who will do a mech when he has the possibility to do so. And yeah, he just tried to shut him down before he has the chance to just start turtling. And that was exactly the right timing on Koda, attacking with the Vipers. When he has only 6-7 tanks, he's able to Blinding Cloud all the Vipers and then just go in. If he had 3-4 extra tanks, he could have actually defended this attack, I think. Possibly, yeah.
So any final thoughts? I mean, are we going to get on the DeParture hype train now? Are we going to do that?
Well, I mean, unfortunately for us on the main stage, we've still just only seen him against Mech Terran, and I mean he's gotten better, as Stefano said. It's gotten more impressive. So certainly, I think you should be pretty high up on him. And like the commentators doing a great job of talking about, he's been doing well in Pro League. So it's just us that focus a little bit more on like the WCS scene that don't see him as often. That I think he's a little bit more of a dark horse. For a lot of other people, he seems to be doing exactly what he was supposed to be doing. So certainly a good player to go forward. It's too bad to see Marinelord go off as early as he did, but he lost to a couple of fantastic players, and he made a couple of mistakes. But like losing to a close spawn roach timing attack like that, like Stefano said, that's like one of those things where it's like, okay, that happened. You just got to pick yourself up and recover, because that happens to everyone, so it's fine.
And on the plus side, you'll have plenty of opportunity to check London out, as you did earlier today.
That's exactly right. He can walk the fine streets. There's a Chelsea game going on.
Chelsea game going on the corner. They've just scored.
Did they?
Yeah. No spoilers, but they've just
But that's
scored.
good for us, no?
What's that?
It's better that they
it's
win.
good for us.
It's better that they win.
Oh yeah. We definitely
It's gonna be
want
less
Chelsea
risky
to win.
outside.
Yeah. By the way, Jeff, if you see someone wearing a blue T-shirt, don't ask them for directions. All right?
No.
Yeah, perhaps not a good idea. Anyway, look, thanks for all of your ideas and thoughts, guys. We're now going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we're going to have yet another game from here at the Gfinity Starcraft Summer Masters. See you soon.
Going in for it. He's trying to take down the spine crawler. He's going for the queen. There are not a lot of units. The drone's coming off the mineral line. That's never a good sign. He is 8 ahead right now. He can lose a few, but the spine crawler goes down.
Is the biggest victim, by the way, in this game right now. Oh my god. Get out of there! Get out of there! It's all starting. There goes the Goboff. He's got no idea where to run.
Chains that you pull away. I feel the fear when you look at me.
You wanna rob my boner?
Here comes the money.
Check this out.